Yes, welcome back. Let's read the next one. I'm laying in my bed and I'm a little bit tired today and sleepy, so I'm not getting up my bed and record myself. I can do that in the end of video. This is 10 pages. We can maybe do it in one part video. Let's try do that.
Windows 3.0. Windows 3.0 version of the Microsoft Windows operating system. Logo of Microsoft Windows 3.0. Windows 3.0 workspace.png. Screenshot of Microsoft Windows 3.0 developer Microsoft OS family Microsoft Windows source model closed source released to manufacturing May 22, 1990 latest release 3.00 with multimedia extensions /October 20, 1991 license commercial software preceded by Windows 2.1x, 1988, succeeded by Windows 3.1x. 1992. Support status unsupported as of the 31st of December 2001. Windows 3.0 is the third major release of Microsoft Windows, launched in 1990. It features a new graphical user interface, GUI, where applications are re-represented as clickable icons, as opposed to the list or file names seen in its predecessors. Later updates would expand the software's capabilities, one of which added multimedia support for sound recording and playback, as well as support for CD-ROMs. Windows 3.0 is the first version of Windows to perform well both critically and commercially. Critics and users considered its GUI to be a challenger to those of Apple Macintosh and Unix. Other praised features were the improved multitasking, customizability, and especially the utilitarian management of computer memory that troubled the users of Windows 3.0's predecessors. Microsoft was criticized by third-party developers for bundling of its separate software with the operating environment, which they viewed as an anti-competitive practice. Windows 3.0 sold 10 million copies before it was succeeded by Windows 3.1 in 1992. On the 31st of December 2001, Microsoft declared Windows 3.0 obsolete and stopped providing support and updates for the system. Contents. Development history. Features. Updates Windows 3.0 with multimedia extensions. System requirements. Reception sales. References. Bibliography. External links. Development history. Before Windows 3.0, Microsoft had a partnership with IBM, where the latter had sold personal computers running on the former's MS-DOS since 1981. Microsoft had made previous attempts to develop a successful operating environment called Windows 1, and IBM declined to include the project in its product line. 2. As MS-DOS was entering its fifth iteration, IBM demanded a version of DOS that could run in protected mode, which would allow it to execute multiple programs at once, among other benefits. MS-DOS was originally designed to run in real mode and run only one program at a time, due to the capability limitations of the Intel 8088 microprocessor. Intel had later released the Intel 80286, which was designed to support such multitasking efficiently, with several different hardware features, including memory protection, hardware task switching, program privilege separation, and virtual memory, all absent on the earlier Intel x86 CPUs, and which could be directly connected to 16 times as much memory as the 8088 and 8086. The two companies developed the next generation of DOS, OS/2. OS/2 software was not compatible with DOS, giving IBM an advantage. 3. In late 1987, Windows /386 2.0 introduced a protected mode kernel that could multitask several DOS applications using Virtual 8086 mode, but all Windows applications still ran in a shared virtual DOS machine. As the rest of the Microsoft team moved on to the OS /2 2.0 project, David Weiser, a member of Windows development team and a critic of IBM, believed that he could restart the Windows project. Microsoft needed programming tools that could run in protected mode, so it hired Murray Sargent, a physics professor from the University of Arizona who had developed a DOS extender and a debugging program that could work with protected mode applications. Windows 3.0 originated in 1988 as an independent project by Weiser and Sargent, who used the latter's debugger to improve the memory manager and run Windows applications in their own separate protected memory segments. In a few months, Weiss and Sargent cobbled together a rough prototype that could run Windows versions of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, then presented it to company executives, who were impressed enough to approve it as an official project. When IBM learned of Microsoft's upcoming project, their relationship was damaged, but Microsoft asserted that it would cancel Windows after its launch and that it would continue to develop OS /2.5. Windows 3.0 was formally and officially announced on the 22nd of May 1990, in the New York City Center Theater, where Microsoft released it worldwide. The event had 6,000 attendees, and it was broadcast live in the Microsoft social fairs of 7 other North American cities and 12 major cities outside. It cost Microsoft $3 million to host the festivities, something its founder, Bill Gates, referred to as the most extravagant, extensive, and expensive software introduction ever. 6. Microsoft decided not to offer free runtime licenses of the software to applications vendors, as runtime versions of Windows lacked the capacity to multitask. 7. Instead, the company offered upgrades for both full and runtime previous versions of Windows at a cost of $50, equivalent to $104 in 2021. Considerably lower than the full license suggested retail price of $149.8. The software could also be obtained by purchasing computers with it pre-installed from hardware manufacturers. The first of these manufacturers was Zenith Data Systems, Austin Computer Systems, and CompuAd, followed by more than 25 others. Notably, IBM was not one of them. 9. Microsoft had intended to make Windows 3.0 appealing to the public in general. The company's entry team, assigned to that task, was concerned that the public might perceive it to be no more than a tool for large enterprises, due to the software's high system requirements. Major game publishers did not see it as a potential game platform, instead sticking to DOS. Microsoft's product manager Bruce Ryan compiled games that the Windows team had designed in its spare time to create Microsoft Entertainment Pack, which included Tetris and Minesweeper. There was little budget put in the project, and none of that was spent on quality testing. Nevertheless, the Entertainment Pack was sold as a separate product, and it became so popular that it was followed by 3 other Entertainment Packs. 10. On the 31st of December, 2001, Microsoft dropped support for Windows 3.0, along with previous versions of Windows and Windows 95, Windows for Workgroups, and MS-DOS versions up to 6.22.11, 12. Features. Windows 3.0 features a significantly revamped graphical user interface, GUI, which was described as shaving a 3-dimensional look similar to the Presentation Manager, rather than the flat look of its predecessor, Windows 2.1.13, 14. It also includes technical improvements to the memory management to make better use of the capabilities of Intel's 80,286 and 80,386 processors. Dynamic data exchange is a multitasking protocol whereby multiple running applications dynamically exchange data with one another, i.e., when data in one application changes, so does the data in another. This feature had appeared in Windows previously, but until Windows 3.0, due to memory constraints, users were unable to use the protocol. These users instead had to exit to DOS to run one application, close it, and open another to exchange data. 15.16. Due to its support for the 386 and later processors, Windows 3.0 can also use virtual memory, which is a portion of a hard disk drive that is substituted for memory by the processor in the event that its own memory is exhausted. 17.18. Like its predecessors, Windows 3.0 is not an operating system per se, but rather an operating environment that is designed for DOS and controls its functions. 8.19. The MS-DOS Executive File Manager was replaced with Program Manager, the list-based File Manager and Task List. 20. Program Manager is a graphical shell composed of icons, each with an underlying title. They can be moved and arranged in any order, and the icons' titles can be renamed. When double-clicked on these icons, open corresponding applications or smaller windows within the Program Manager window called Group Windows. These group windows contain such icons and can be minimized to prevent cluttering of the Program Manager Windows space. 21. File Manager is another shell used to access or modify applications, but displays them as files contained in directories in a list format. Its purpose as an alternative to using DOS commands is to facilitate moving files and directories. 22. Task List displays all running applications and may also be used to terminate them. Select a different program, cascade or tile through windows, and arrange minimized desktop icons. 23. The Control Panel, where users can change settings to customize windows and hardware, was also redesigned as an icon-based window. 24. The drivers bundled with Windows 3.0 support up to 16 simultaneous colors from EGA, MCGA or VGA palettes, as opposed to the previous maximum of 8 colors. 25. Though the operating environment itself supports graphics adapters that offer resolutions and the number of colors greater than VGA. 26. Windows 3.0 also introduced the Palette Manager, a set of functions that allow applications to change the look-up palette of graphics cards, displaying up to 256 colors in order to use needed colors. When multiple displayed windows exceed the 256 color limit, Windows 3.0 prioritizes the active window to use that application's colors, without resorting to dithering and then filling in areas. 27. 28. Windows 3.0 retains many of the simple applications from its predecessors, such as the text editor Notepad, the word processor Write, and the improved Paint program Paintbrush. Calculator is expanded to include scientific calculations. 13. 29. Recorder is a new program that records macros, or sequences of keystrokes and mouse movements, which are then assigned to keys as shortcuts to perform complex functions quickly. 13. 30. Also, the earlier Reversi game was complemented with the card game Microsoft Solitaire. 31. Which would eventually be inducted into the World Video Game Hall of Fame in 2019. 32. Another notable program is Help. Unlike DOS applications, which may have help functions as part of THEM, Windows Help is a separate and readily accessible application that accompanies all Windows programs that support it. 13. 33. Updates. There are 2 updates known to have been published for Windows 3.0. One of them is Windows 3.0a, released in December 1990. It modified Windows DOS Extender, a program that enables DOS applications to access extended memory to prevent errors caused by software calling into real mode code when Windows is loaded in standard mode. It also simplified the installation process and alleviated crashes associated with networking, printing, and low memory conditions. 34.35 Windows 3.0 with multimedia extensions. Windows 3.0 with multimedia extensions 1.0 MME was released to third-party manufacturers in October 1991. 36.37 The application programming interface introduced Media Control Interface, designed for NI media-related devices such as graphics and audio cards, scanners, and videotape players. 38.39 It also supported recording and playing digital audio, 40 MIDI devices, screensavers and analog joysticks, 41, as well as CD-ROM drives, which were then becoming increasingly available. 42 Other features included additional applets such as an alarm clock and media player, used to run media files. 43 MME support stereo sound, 44, and 16-bit audio bit depth and sampling rates of up to 44.1 kHz. 45 System requirements. The official system requirements for Windows 3.0 and its substantial update. Windows 3.0 with multimedia extensions. Minimum system requirements. Windows 3.0, 46. Windows 3.0 with multimedia extensions, 47. CPU 8086/8088 processor or better, 80286 processor running at 10 MHz or better, RAM 1 MB of memory, 640 KB and 384 KB of conventional and extended memory, respectively. 2 MB of memory storage, a hard drive with 8 MB of free space, hard drive with 30 MB of total space, medium at least 1 floppy drive for the installation disks. A CD-ROM drive is essential for performing numerous multimedia operations. 48 Video. Windows 3.0 supports a large array of graphics cards and computer monitors, and will try to use any of its generic drivers in the event that no driver exists to support the hardware. However, because the user interface is designed to be displayed at resolutions relatively high by 1990 standards, an EGA, MCGA or VGA display was recommended. VGA graphics card or better, OSMS or PC-DOS version 3.1 or higher, mouse or Microsoft compatible pointing device I recommended. A mouse is required to perform many of the multimedia operations. 44 The processor and memory minimum requirements for the original version are those needed to run Windows in real mode, the lowest of the 3 operating modes. 19 This mode severely limits the multitasking capabilities of Windows. 49 Although it can still use expanded memory, which is memory that is added by installing expanded memory boards or memory managers. 50 However, it also provides backward compatibility with as many hardware and software designed for DOS as possible, and it may burst to run DOS applications and older Windows applications not optimized for Windows 3.0 if running them in higher operating modes is not possible. Standard mode requires at least an 80,286 processor, and out half the memory required is unchanged. The mode does allow the processor to use extended memory for running applications. 386 enhanced mode requires at least an 80,386 processor and 2 MB of memory. 49 While the other modes can run DOS applications in full screen only and must suspend DOS applications in order to run Windows programs and vice versa. The DOS applications in 386 Enhanced mode can be run windowed and concurrently with the Windows applications. 51. Unlike the other modes, this one cannot be used to run DOS applications that use DOS extenders incompatible with DPME specifications. 49. Normally, Windows